Hey, this is a quick preview, I guess you could call it, of next live stream. I really didn't know until probably yesterday what I was going to do for Sunday afternoon. And this situation came up that kind of told me what I need to talk about, because this is a huge problem of Christian behavior. I've done videos on this before. And I just wanted to put up this sample of some statements that were made to me personally over the last few days. And most people don't seem to think that these are a problem for Christians. And I think Scripture would say something very different. Because, first of all, this person of being very condescending has a history of that, especially with women, and is all the more bold when having power, which goes to people's heads. It just does. And telling someone to take a nap, women or men, I don't care, is pretty condescending on its own. You could let that go by itself, but there's a history of things that a lot of people don't see. And telling someone to take a nap is kind of a slam on age, even though this person is older than me, keeps slamming me about needing a nap. And posting my age and, implying that I am unsaved because, that my behavior is so awful for what exactly. I had said that some song lyrics were nasty, and it escalated to this point. Hey, Don, good to see you. So this is what I get for saying some song lyrics were nasty and being threatened by an administrator who posts my age and, insults me for behavior that I didn't do anything wrong, but look at his. And then the last one really kills me with the hearts in the church. It's like, really getting abusive here. Hey, Rhonda, behave yourself like a good Bible-fearing Christian woman would do. And this is considered acceptable in pretty much every online community that I've encountered. And most of the time I choose to leave rather than try to fix it, because you can't fix it. You can't fix prejudice. Now, I know all the ridiculous overkill that's going on right now about race and how, anybody who isn't black or brown or who is white is racist and no one else can be racist. That's ridiculous. But there is true racism on both sides. On every side, racism is not a white problem. It's a people problem. And it has been often a professing Christian problem. But, well, here we have sexism as well, from someone who has a history of sexism. And yet this person also, I didn't include that comment, through my alleged history at me in the course of leading up to this point, and said that, because I leave places that are abusive for one reason or another, that this means I have a history of always being the cause of the problem. And this is, YouTube, Discord, I don't care where you are online. There seems to be a growing consensus that if I either defend myself or use Scripture to make a point or confront, as Scripture tells us, if your brother or sister sins against you, rebuke them, from Jesus himself. I'll go over that on Sunday's live stream. If I do things like that, I'm the troublemaker. So it's getting very old, older than me. So in one case, people say, well, you should respect the old. Well, I don't receive that respect. And then on the other, an older person ribbing me about my age is just, this is what passes for acceptable Christian behavior. And all I ever hear is how we need to forgive and let it go. And what that does is enable a person like this to keep getting worse and worse. And that's what happens. And if it'll happen to me, it'll happen to other people, in this case, women. Because people are not held to account. And that's what I'm going to go over on Sunday about respect and accountability. I haven't put it up yet. But this is going to be about trying to find the balance between the abuse of power or the excuse of the abuse of power. Both of those extremes are problems, huge problems in the Christian community, because it's just as bad to excuse someone's behavior as it is to be the one who gets all the forgiveness, the perp. I know some of you remember years ago there was that TV show, 19 Kids and Counting. I don't know how many kids they wound up having, but what that series never told you is that the man of the house was considered God, pretty much. He had to be obeyed as God by the wife and the children. The wife was there for his needs only, not her own. I can't imagine what all those babies did to her body, her health, but nobody cared. And when the oldest son was convicted of molesting his little sisters, everybody I knew, almost everybody, was making excuses for this child molester because it was such a good Christian family. Yeah, troublemakers are the ones who say something bad about someone you like. And that's been the problem. I get caught in the middle between, people I like, people who like me, people who hate my guts and have made that very clear. And I'm the one who always has to forgive and forget. Never is the other person confronted. Never are there consequences. I wait years in some cases. Nothing happens to them. And the sin goes on and the abuse goes on. So this is why we're going to get into the scriptures on Sunday and go over this huge, huge problem of what it's supposed to be like in the Christian community. Yeah, the world is a nasty place. I will at least keep doing what I do on my channel, although sometimes I run out of ideas because I've covered so many things. I've got like almost 600 videos. But it does help to revisit topics, but sometimes I'm not sure what needs to be gone over again. But this one came up, and so evidently it needs to be gone over again. So, yeah, but I would have hoped by now, especially when the world needs it the most, the Christian community would not be so nasty. But apparently, I mean, we know this from Bible prophecy, that this is the sort of thing to expect. The churches, 7 churches of Revelation, only 2 did not get a reprimand, and that says something. So, but it's deeply disappointing to see not only the world, but the church just swirl the drain like this. This is acceptable behavior in the churches and in the online communities today. So I will see you guys on Sunday afternoon, unless something comes up and I have to reschedule. I'll have to be flexible, but as far as I know, we'll be at 2:00 Eastern on Sunday, once again. Saturday was last time. And it turned out that the barbecue was canceled anyway. So what are you going to do? Anyway, thanks for coming. We'll see y'all on Sunday, 2 Eastern.